All right, my friends, welcome to the Contractor Sales Academy podcast. This is Tom, and I am flying solo today. My partners, Steve and Derek, are actually in Cleveland. And as I was thinking about this, I just, in my mind right now, this is we're in the last quarter, September. Last month of the quarter, September 2019. We got a whole quarter in front of us for the year to finish out strong. And so I just wanted to give you all couple tips to help you increase your sales, help you improve your sales right now. And so I'm going to just cover three things here quickly that I believe will help you kick some serious ass in your sales process. Okay. So anyway, first thing is I want to make sure that you have the right mindset around your time. Okay. Understand the value of your time. If you don't truly understand what your time is worth, then you're going to totally miss opportunities to make as much money as you possibly can. You want to improve your sales, you've got to give your best time, your best focus, your best energy, your best resources to the right prospects. And too many times, and this doesn't come as a surprise if you've listened to this podcast, if you're part of the Contractor Sales Academy, things like that, not come as a surprise. This is why pre-qualification, one of the reasons that pre-qualification done properly is crucial to your success in your business, okay? And so, that's where we have our Shin Fu process, where we start with the motive. What is the motive behind somebody wanting to do a project? Why are they painting now or building their thing now or whatever it is? What is urgent about it? How long has it been on their radar? What's most important to them? I think asking great questions, which we talk about here all the time, will lead you to the true motive of what's important to somebody. And then you can contract the project around what's important to them. Because at the end of the day, people buy for their reasons, not ours. So protect your time. Protecting your time is massively important. So let me give you an example here. Like if we just take two company scenarios right now, and I see this all the time. If you just say you as the owner, I know there's other factors and things like that, but one of the best metrics I think you can track is two things. How many hours a year are you logging in? And what is your net profit in your business? One of my business coaches who I've worked with, he coaches coaches and stuff. A couple of years ago, he talks about a thing called, EHR, your effective hourly rate. And that is found by taking the profit that you have in your business. What is the money sitting there? What is your net profit after all expenses are paid? And you divide that by the number of hours worked. And when I do this with clients in our academy and our one-on-one coaching and other things like that, it's really eye-opening. So I want you to think real quick here. All right, let me give you two scenarios here. Company A, the guy, it doesn't matter what he does in revenue, but let's say his company, and there's a guy that actually did this. So these are two actual companies. One, he made his net profit at the end of the year was on like a $300,000 business was like $12,800 of net profit. And now, if you simply take 40 hours a week, which I know most of you ain't working because if you own your own business and things like that, you're probably burning the candle at both ends, which is one of the things that we're trying to address here in the CSA. Okay. If he worked 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, he takes 2 weeks off. That's 2,000 hours. Take that 12,800 divided by 2,000 hours. It's $6.40 an hour. He would have been better off driving a damn Uber. Now, yes, he paid himself a salary and some things like that, but guys, profit is the name of the game in a business. If you do not have a net profit, you are going to be hurting as a business. You might as well get a job, J-O-B, okay? Client B, company B, had a net profit of $60,000 on about the same revenue in their business, $300,000 or so. They had $60,000 of net profit sitting there. Divide that by the same 2,000 hours, that's $30 an hour that they were keeping just from the owner's time. All right, so must be massively picky. Who gets you? Who gets your time? Who gets your best energy? One of the questions that I've often asked myself is, does this deal, does this project, does this client, does this sale have enough zeros behind it to get my best energy? Okay, so that's why, again, I'm not going to go into all the nitty gritty of pre-qualifying and things like that, but what you will see when you truly commit to a sales process that protects your time, you're going to see your own effective hourly rate. All right, you're going to see, the value of your time. It's really going to be spelled out to you. Okay, so ask yourself that question: what is my time worth, and how can I make sure that I'm protecting it? How can I make sure I'm spending my time, my energy on the things that have more zeros behind them? And so instead of $300, it's $3,000 and so forth. All right, use that filter, and that filter is the Shin Fu. All right, second thing I want to talk about here to help you increase your sales right now is to be like water. Okay, what I love about water, you look at water and you look at the rock, and over time, water always beats the rock because water is consistent. Every day, 24/7, that water is flowing over the rock, wearing down the rock, cutting a groove in it, and things like that. So think of that in your sales activities, okay? See, too many of us will get a heavy dose of motivation to go sell and prospect and do those things that we need to do to increase our sales. And we come out of the gate hard, there's heavy action, and then we fade away. Much like our gym routine or something like that. Like you look in the mirror one day, you get out of the shower, you go, fat guy, okay? And so you hit the gym really hard for 3 hours that day, and then you don't work out again for another week and a half because you're too damn sore or whatever. Where you would have been better off just spending 15 minutes a day going for a walk and doing some push-ups, okay? Because it's that consistency. So I want you to check your sales activity through the lens here of consistency. Are you being consistent in the things that move the sales needle? Prospecting, upselling, follow-up calls, which I'm going to talk about in point 3 here in a minute, okay? Consistency, creating that daily habit, that consistent daily habit is absolutely going to help you build momentum, okay, and move the needle as far as the sales process goes. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. So first thing, guys, is understand the value of your time. Second thing is make sure that you are being like water, that you're consistent, all right, that you don't just, do bursts of heavy sales action, but you're consistently just, think of it this way, all right? Think of it this way. I wake up in the morning and I make my bed, I go take a leak, I brush my teeth, I make my coffee, whatever your morning routine is, that's about how regular your daily sales actions should be. It's like, hey, from 8 to 8:20 every day, I send follow-up emails. From, 2 to 2:30, I return any phone calls that came in the morning. From, whatever. I make it a point that every day on every job, I have a conversation with my foreman on the job about, hey, where are the upsells at? Have you upsold anything? If you hire a sales guy, okay, let's just say you own your company and you have a sales guy, part of your daily consistent sales action would be having a check-in time with that person. Hey, how many leads came in today? How did you address them? What's the plan to close this deal that we were talking about the other day? And you could get this accountability through text messaging, through quick phone calls, whatever it is. I promise you that when you are consistent, it will build momentum. And momentum is a beautiful thing, okay? Think back to the compound effect book, right? If you just get 1% better every single day, at the end of a year, the math works out to being like 4,000% better or some shit like that, okay? So anyway, final thing that I want to talk about here today on the CSA podcast here about how to increase your sales right now is what I touched on earlier. You have to have a follow-up plan. There's all these stats in the sales world about salespeople and follow-up and things like that. But one of the biggest stats that I think is important here is that you have to understand that approximately 80% of all deals do not sell. Okay, 80% of sales transactions happen somewhere between the 5th and the 12th attempt. Something like 2% of all sales happen on a first contact. And I know we're contractors and things like that, so the first contact is they're going to call you and you're going to do your thing, and then you're going to go meet them, or hopefully you're pre-qualifying like we're talking about here in the CSA. Okay, but you have to understand that very few people are ready to buy from you right away on that first call. So you have to have a strong follow-up plan. Most people, again, there's all these stats out there. Most salespeople don't even follow up. Like roughly half of them, which really wouldn't be most, I guess, but half of them don't follow up at all. They write somebody a frickin' proposal, or they'll email it to them, and then it's just off the radar because they're on to the next one and the next one and the next one, and they're just throwing all these frickin' things to the wind when they have all this money sitting there in their follow-up list, okay? So a follow-up plan is going to make sure that you don't let things slip, all right? So what does a follow-up plan look like? And I guess, well, trying to fast track here for you guys here so I'm not redundant. Guys, here's the deal. You have a thing called a calendar. Pull your calendars out, okay? And you put on your calendar. So your follow-up time, if you're returning phone calls, if you're doing any of the sales activities, prospecting, whatever, put the stuff on your calendar and honor it like you would honor an appointment with a client of somebody who said, hey, I got a $50,000 job I want you to come out and look at. What do? You put that on your calendar and you show up. Why? Because you know it's a sales thing. We'll get the follow-ups, the prospecting, all the things I've talked about here today, they are sales activities. Yet we repeatedly don't put this stuff on our calendars, or if we do, we don't honor it because we think something more urgent comes up. And this is why so many contractors are underachieving in their sales, is because they don't have a strict, sacred follow-up plan, sales plan to keep money, oxygen coming into the top of your business. That's why it's up and down so much. You have to remember that prospects, they buy when they're ready, not when I'm ready, not when you're ready. So if I don't have consistency of action and follow-up and prospecting and things like that, if I'm not continually planting and watering seeds and getting answers from people and touching base, I'm out of their minds. Okay, I'll give you an example. Last night, real life example, I went on my phone, I Googled tree trimming companies because I got to get some tree trimming done around my house. And it's something it's been on my radar for a while. I've just been slow to take action. Okay, I just keep blowing it off for whatever reason. I just make excuses. Yesterday, I'm like, I'm going to do this. Right as I was about to do the thing and schedule the appointment online, I got a call from one of my kids' schools and had to deal with the thing with that and a family issue. So life hijacked me. And this is what I want you to understand. It's not that your prospects are like, oh, fuck you, I don't want to work with you. It's that life happens. And if you are not committed to staying in front of them, staying top of mind, you don't have a plan to make that happen, two things are going to happen. Number one, their life's going to distract them. And number two, your life is going to distract you from doing the things that you have to do to drive sales forward. All right, so your follow-up plan might look like this. Let's just say you go out, you don't sell the job on the spot, which is usually the case for most contractors. So the next day you might go, all right, I'm going to send a follow-up email. And in that email, I'm going to have a template email that I just put their name in there. And here's a couple links to some things on my website that are maybe relevant to the project that I just talked to them about. Okay, that's day one. And then maybe 2 days later, you take out your handy dandy phone and you send a text. Okay, and then maybe on day 7, you put out what we call here in the CSA the Hail Mary email, which you guys that are in the group know what I'm talking about there. Okay, And then maybe they go dark for a while, but then on day 21, 3 weeks later, if they've gone silent, this is all part of the follow-up plan. You can either do one more phone call, or you could just say, hey, I'm going to do a phone call. And in that phone call, I'm going to say, hey, it looks like you're not ready to move ahead with the project for whatever reason. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stop bothering you. I'm going to put you on our email list. I'll send you some sales and some tips and some deals and some things like that from time to time. We really appreciate you, considering us for your project. Okay, so that would be a 4 or 5 touch point follow-up plan that you would just put in your CRM, create some reminders, and you update what happened on each one of those conversations. Okay, so guys, the follow-up is where the money is, because life happens to them, life happens to you, things slip our mind and stuff like that. And one of the biggest reasons that we struggle in our sales is that we simply do not have the discipline to do the things that I've just talked about here, which is protect your time, be consistent, and follow up on every single prospect, every single lead, okay, until you get that yes or no. I appreciate you guys hanging with me today on the CSA podcast as the boys are out of town. Implement this stuff, and I promise you're going to sell more of your stuff. Share this with another contractor. Don't forget to review us wherever you're listening to this podcast. And with that, I will talk to you guys next time on the Contractor Sales Academy podcast.